Hello and welcome to another installment of the Plain Truth 12 channel. This is your host, Luke. Now, back again with another bit of information that I've seen regarding the COVID-19 fiasco, and it is quite relevant as stipulated here by Reuters. British study shows, excuse me, COVID-19 vaccine efficacy wanes under Delta. Now, this pretty much, there's a lot of information that's coming out because Israel have released they've released their study on how their country has dealt or how their country has experienced being the most vaccinated country on the planet, and essentially from their information it shows that the protection against COVID after being vaccinated with both jabs vanishes, and that's the language that is used in an Express article which I will be linking, vanishes over time, resulting in massive, resulting in massive upticks in cases and whatnot. But that's essentially what this highlights also, that initially you will get that, they'll say you get that 90% efficacy, that 90% protection against the symptoms. But after 4 to 5 months, 6 months after time, not only will you gain a similar viral load to an unvaccinated person, viral load being the presence of that virus within you that is able to spread from another person, but essentially that over time, pardon me, is inside data indicated that diminishing protection from vaccines over time. So these are the things that people have been saying for a very long time, but now they're trying to do like a third Pfizer doses now when it was only supposed to be two, and encouraging people to have booster jabs, resulting in hell knows what else is going to happen. But yes, and not only that, there is there's no herd immunity, transmissions up in the air. So these are the things that's come out of Israel. But the main, but so just to wrap up from this article, the main issue is after about 6 months, the strength of these vaccines wanes and it becomes a liability, and it becomes to the extent where not only will you'll be weaker, but you will need to rely on booster shots for the rest of your life to sort of compensate for what you've done essentially to yourself. But moving on to the main article or study that I wanted to get into today, and this is from a Dr. Sankari Sinha Dutta, PhD. Natural SARS-CoV-2 infection induces more durable immunity than vaccination, study suggests. Now, just to read off here, in a report currently available, scientists from USA have demonstrated that immunity induced by mRNA-based coronavirus disease vaccines in previously severe acute respiratory syndrome CoV-2 infected people has the highest robust and durability with cross reactivity against different viral variants. Now that was a bit of a mouthful. Now, unless I'm failing to understand what that said, what she's saying here is that if you have the vaccine, you're going to have more of a robust and durable response, but that's not what she's concluded. So I'm a bit confused there. But just to get into this study essentially reinforces this point by not only highlighting the waning efficacy of these vaccines, what it also reinforces that the natural response, as stipulated by the title, yields a better outcome for the individual. Now, just to highlight and get to the crux of the information, because I don't want to make this too long, essentially they have three focus groups that they looked at and they got information from. One is COVID-19 recovered individuals without vaccination. Keep an eye on this. Secondly is COVID-19 recovered individuals with vaccination. And three, vaccinated individuals without previous infection. Now, this part of the article is the most important part so far, but as stipulated here, the findings revealed that the durability of antibody response was highest upon SARS-CoV-2 infection, with preservation of 60 to 80% of peak antibody levels for up to 220 days post-symptom offset. So essentially, if you have receives the wrong way, if you've been infected with COVID-2 and you've not had the vaccine, so you're all natural, you're going to have a 60 to 70% peak antibody level. So it's by that it's referring to your responsive levels for your antibodies. It's basically your ability to fight it. They're showing good levels. Now, to because the whole of this is just a bunch of jargon. Now, essentially, just reading here regarding cross-reactive neutralization, plasma samples derived from vaccinated individuals with previous infection showed the highest neutralization efficacy against a range of viral variants. So, essentially, what this part is highlighting, as stated here, usually when you get your first jab or whatever, within that first or the first or second jab, you will get like an 85% efficacy, like you will be strong against the virus. So what this is basically saying, if you've got the vaccine and you've been previously affected by COVID, you will have a strong reaction initially. That's what this part is saying. And then it goes on to say in vaccinated SARS-CoV-2 naive individuals, so those who have not been previously affected, the cross-reactive neutralization levels after 6 months of second vaccination reduced to the levels observed in previously infected. Now, to jump all the way, because the thing we're most focused on is the conclusion. You can read this in your own time, but essentially what she found in this study, and this is the latest information, this is not any Fuchs out of this world random article. This is the latest information we've got, which is corroborated by this study and is corroborated by the data that's come out of Israel in the last week or so. Now, essentially what the conclusion is, the study findings revealed that the natural infection induces moderate intensity immunity against SARS-CoV-2 and its variants that remain stable for a long period of time. So essentially what this is saying is your natural response is yielding you strong resistance against CoV-2, be it symptoms or the virus itself. That's a fact. That's what the study showed. In contrast, mRNA-based COVID-19 vaccine-induced immunity gradually declines with time, despite an early robust magnitude. So you'd get that initial big, 90%, but after a while it will wane. Now, this has been pretty much spoken about so many times, but sometimes you just need to wait for the scientists to tell on themselves, essentially. But regardless, what she ended up concluding, importantly, vaccines offer the highest level of protection against SARS-CoV-2 infection in COVID recovered individuals. So what she's basically saying is get COVID, recover from it, then get the vaccine. But what it's kind of being disingenuous about is that you're going to need to constantly be boosting, and if you don't get these booster shots, COVID is going to lick you down differently because the efficacy drops. And since you've already muddled with your natural immunity, the response is not going to be the same. But essentially, that's just what I wanted to get into today. Not a long one at all. Just wanted to show the latest data in terms of what the science has been saying. But pretty much highlighting what's been said, that you're better off not getting it in terms of if you value your health, you don't need the vaccine for it. Like over time, it will as the information is suggesting, not even by my own mouth, you're better off getting it without it because the efficacy will wane over time and the vaccines are not able to deal with the variants as much as it's being advertised. But yeah, it was just a quick one. Thank you for joining me on this installment. I do hope you join me next time and have a good day. Goodbye.